Negreanu is looking down on ace-jack offsuit. He opens to 400 and Telli flats with pocket fives, a perfect depth and position call that set mines while keeping Negreanu's weaker aces and broadways in. Pocket fives thrive in exactly this configuration. Stacks are deep enough to realize implied odds, position is secured on the razor, and there are aggressive players behind who may overcall and sweeten the price. Turning fives into a 3-bet would narrow Negreanu to a tough, high-card range and invite a 4-bet that forces the pair into a guessy spot or a fold. The flop comes queen 5-2 with 2 clubs and the initiative shifts. Negreanu has range advantage and fires 1,150, a small c-bet that folds out the air and taxes hands like ace-x without a club while still keeping dominated queens in.
Over half pot into 4 opponents, this bet should come free with a drink at the bar because it is a little nuts.
Telli springs the value raise to 2,500 with middle set. It builds the pot, protects against club and straight runouts, and forces Negreanu to define his hand. Negreanu's call is the right kind of stubborn. With ace-jack, he has 2 clean overcards. The nut club backdoor via the ace of clubs, and he keeps Telli's bluffs and thinner value lines alive, rather than turning his hand into a bluff with a 3-bet. The turn is the jack of clubs, and it's a huge texture shift for Negreanu's strategy even though he's still behind. He pairs up, picks up the nut club blocker, and leads 3,100 into a range that just advertised strength on the flop. The donk bet does several jobs at once. It denies a free card to ace-queen and king-queen with a club. It prevents Telli from setting the price with all of his strong but vulnerable hands. And it tells a story consistent with a flush that arrived and now wants value. Telli's call keeps the trap set with his set of fives, but notice how the informational asymmetry flips. Negreanu has seized the narrative and gets to choose the river cadence. The river is the ace of diamonds, pairing Negreanu to aces and jacks and leaving the front door clubs unchanged.
And he moves all in. We could be about to lose Daniel Negreanu.
And immediately turns to the weapon that separates him from almost everyone else at the table, live read pressure via table talk. He starts narrating the hand out loud in a way that pins Telli to a category.
Got ace queen of hearts or something?
Alternating confidence with doubt so that every nod in Telli's head feels recognized. He sprinkles in just enough truth to be believable.
It's like I want to fold.
Really?
You have a what?
I want to fold.
You don't have a fold?
No, I want to fold.
Oh,
I wanted to
do you have ace queen of hearts? Is that what you have? 'Cause that's
wanted
kind
to
of what I put you on.
Fold the damn turn.
Ace queen of hearts might get half. Go for the high, I'll take the low.
Might get half. That's good.
I appreciate you watching this far. If you're enjoying these videos, hit that like button. It really helps me out. Thank you.
You're special, though.
That's what I've been told. He had fives?
Ding!
And he lays it down! He folds the set!
Show like a red 9 and you're my hero.
I'll show you one card, that's good. Let's see.
King of clubs.
Wow! What a card, right?
Negreanu picks up Jack 4 suited, a hand most of us will fold, but Negreanu opens light to attack the straddle money and Williams just flats with kings, which is a great slow play in this lineup. By not squeezing, he keeps the weaker parts of Negreanu's range in, lets the third player come along with dominated hands, and hides the real strength of his holding. On a jack-high flop, the initiative flips to pure range advantage. Negreanu has all the top pair junk kickers, all the jacks from his open, and tons of c-bet candidates. His small bet is value and protection at the same time. He wants folds from underpairs and worse broadways while still keeping dominated jacks in the pot. Williams springs the trap with a raise that does 2 jobs. It inflates the pot against the exact hands he's targeting, top pair worse kicker, and it taxes the draws and gutters that would love a cheap turn. The sizing is clever, big enough to deny, small enough to keep Negreanu attached with his 1-pair hands. Negreanu's call is the disciplined answer. If he 3-bets, he isolates himself versus sets and overpairs. By calling, he controls the pot, keeps bluffs alive, and forces Williams to keep telling a story on later streets. The turn pairs Negreanu, and that changes everything.
This is such a dirty card. I mean, who can really put someone on Jack 4?
Jack 4 goes from bluff catcher to a genuine value hand that beats the most common part of Williams's line, which is exactly the overpairs that raise flop and barrel turn. When Williams continues with a confident bet, his range is face-up strong but capped below sets because of the pre-flop flat.
I'm all in.
Negreanu's shove is surgical. It denies the river to kings and queens. It charges every nut flush draw or combo draw that decided to keep pressing. And it leverages fold equity against hands that hate calling off, but also hate folding. Precisely the overpairs that slow played pre. If he only calls, he lets every overcard, counterfeit, or backdoor scare card complicate the river, and he gives Williams a free shot. Jamming sets the price now and punishes the trap.
Which is it?
50, 74, 9, 80. Call? Once or twice?
Okay, we want to see hands first or no?
Well, I don't care. I'll do twice either way.
I'll do twice.
First river card is a jack.
Oh, that's it. That's a good one for me.
The second river is a 7.
Daniel Negreanu is looking down at 7-5 offsuit, but he's up against the greatest of all time, Phil Ivey, whose cards we don't see yet. Daniel limps from the button, a play you almost never see at these high levels, because you open yourself up to a stealing raise that you can't really call, but his opponents already know that, so I'm guessing they think he's trying to trap them with a monster hand like pocket aces.
Maria has checked her option. We're going 3-way to the flop.
The flop gives Negreanu an open-ended straight draw. But with Phil limping and Maria Ho checking pre-flop, there's a lot of hands in their ranges like suited hearts, small sets, and 2-pair combos that connect here. If either of them decides to push, Daniel's draw could get pretty expensive. This bet by Phil doesn't give away much. He's the kind of player who'll fire here whether he's got top pair, a monster draw, or complete air. A flop bet like this is more about taking control rather than showing actual strength. Negreanu was feeling somewhat okay in position here, so he decides to see what move Ivey will make on the turn.
Daniel does call. The turn card is a 7. Phil checks.
I think we should probably just check.
Daniel does bet. And what's Phil thinking?
He's thinking, what's this guy got? What's this guy over here got? What does he got me beat?
Oh, Phil's check raised.
A line like this usually represents real strength, but against someone like Ivey, it can just as easily be a well-timed bluff meant to put Daniel in the blender.
Seconds left to make a decision. He elects to call.
Like there was ever any doubt what Daniel was going to do.
The river card is the 7 of hearts. Trips for Daniel, but it does put a potential flush out there.
Ivey limped pre-flop, fired a bet on a heart-heavy flop, then check-raised the turn. That line is consistent with a flush draw or a pocket pair of 4s or 6s, which now gives him a full house.
And there's a bet from Phil.
Full house? You got queen 7? I don't think I can fold it.
Daniel calls.
Ace queen.
Phil claims to have ace queen, but he doesn't.
Negreanu is looking down on Jack-10 suited. Lichtenberger opens the hijack and both stacks behind are deep, so the pre-flop incentives matter. With aces, raising to 45K keeps in dominated broadways and pairs while leaving room to play streets post-flop instead of taking a huge 4-bet pot this close to the business end of a major event. Negreanu flats the cutoff with Jack-10 suited. Against a competent hijack opener and a sticky big blind, that hand prints by realizing equity rather than trying to 3-bet. If he 3-bets, he invites a 4-bet from value, folds out the weaker stuff he dominates, and risks playing a bloated pot with a hand that prefers multi-way, position, and disguised equity. D bleeds into 2 players. With top pair and a backdoor club, he denies overcards a free look and sets the price on a texture that can change quickly. Lichtenberger just calls with aces. That's deliberate, raising polarizes him on a wet board and risks pushing out Negreanu's dominated continues. With the ace of clubs, he blocks the nut flush, so he doesn't fear as many bad turns and can keep ranges wide. Negreanu's call with Jack-10 is standard. He has the clean open-ender to the nuts, excellent position, and 2 opponents who will pay him off if he hits. Turning this into a raise would fold out worse and isolate against the top of range. The 7 of clubs hits, and Negreanu picks up the straight at the same time the front door flush completes. Lichtenberger checks as well, which keeps his range disguised and preserves the option to spring a check raise. With aces that include the ace of clubs, he can induce a bet, choose between calling and jamming, and if he is behind, he carries 9 outs to the nuts. Negreanu fires 295K to tax everything at once. The bet extracts from 2 pairs and sets that fear a 4th club, charges single club overpairs that refuse to fold, and denies a cheap river to ace of clubs holdings that would love a free card. The sizing is intentional because it sets up a straightforward stack-off versus a check raise, and avoids giving a volatile river the chance to undo his equity lead.
Feeling comfortable right now. See? You can tell by my energy. Relaxed. What does that usually mean? Huh? What? Dang! As soon as I start yapping, he goes in. Oh, man.
Imagine that you are so good with the mind games that you can induce an all-in shove with just some yapping.
Tough decision. I'm gonna need a minute.
While we wait for Negreanu to make his decision, please give this video a like. Thank you.
Because you check the turn. I guess you do that with the ace-high flush, right? Well, you have to have it. I don't think I can fold, though. Nice hand, bro.
This part here was inaudible, but you can clearly see that he is saying deuce of hearts a few times.
Called the deuce of hearts. Were you hearing me saying deuce of hearts?
Daniel Negreanu is looking down at 6-5 offsuit, but he's up against his nemesis of 20 years, Phil Ivey, who's holding King Jack suited. Ivey raises to 75,000. Most players would probably fold in Daniel's spot.
No choice, can't fold it. Gotta see a flop in the big blind.
There's the call. So it's Daniel versus Phil.
Ivey is 64% favorite for now, but the flop comes 8-6-6 and Negreanu hits trips.
Eight of hearts.
I don't see Phil falling for this.
Phil checks too. I don't know how, but he can somehow feel Daniel is strong here.
A king on the turn.
Now I see him falling for it a little.
Negreanu wants Phil second-guessing every assumption. Wants him trapped between is he bluffing and is he setting me up? What looks like hesitation is actually misdirection. This is less about cards, more about control.
Daniel leads. Phil now with top pair.
Even if you think Daniel has a 6, you can't just go folding top pair.
Negreanu's sizing here leaves Ivey about 3.5 to 1 on a call. And with top pair, that's usually a no-brainer. But what Daniel's really doing here is laying the groundwork for the river. He's planting the seed that says, if you call now, you're going to have to call big later. This is psychological compounding. Pressure applied in stages. Daniel is hoping that Phil did indeed hit that king on the turn, and he's going to try to make him sweat like a maniac.
He calls. The river is a jack.
Wow, Daniel is running better than Prefontaine.
Daniel value bets his trips. Phil forced to call with top 2.
Nope.
So obvious you have a 6. Got 350.
Trip sixes. Phil shows King Jack for top 2. Daniel's trip sixes take 5.
Good call, good call. Good thing you didn't raise. That was smart. You know what you're doing.
Daniel Negreanu is looking down on King Deuce suited, but he's up against Tarhanovs with pocket jacks and tie heart with ace 9 suited. Tarhanovs is playing from the cutoff. From this seat, you can raise a wider mix of hands because fewer players are left to act. Jacks are still ahead of most calling hands in the blinds, but like all medium-high pairs, they're pretty scared of seeing an overcard on the flop. Against a late position open, suited aces are often ahead of a lot of hands. Even though he's out of position, he's still got the kind of hand that can flop big, and that's enough to justify seeing a flop.
Here, take it. Take whatever you want. I just don't fold. It's so boring to fold, so I decided no more folding.
Negreanu calls from the big blind with a pretty questionable hand, but he's getting a bit over 5 to 1 pot odds, which is pretty decent to check out the flop and see if he gets lucky. He uses his signature yapping technique to try to confuse his opponents and maybe fish out some information.
You never know what you might hit. I don't know what I have yet. We'll see. I'll tell you what I have after the flop.
The flop comes 7 King 9 all spades, and Negreanu has the best hand right now, but Tarhanovs is still in the lead.
Check to that guy. He's going to raise. What are you looking at me for? I'm not going to bet.
This is one of those spots where Tarhanovs can put serious pressure on both opponents, knowing he's got strong showdown value plus plenty of outs if he's behind.
Ooh. Scare card.
Negreanu is ahead with pair of kings, but with 2 opponents still in, a straight is now a big concern.
I'm going to take a stab. See what that does.
Negreanu bets a little over 50% of the pot. That sizing puts real pressure on both flush and straight draws, making them pay above their pot odds to see a river. He's protecting his pair of kings while still leaving himself room to fold if the heat comes back to haunt him.
You're the guy who checked queens before in the 10-high flop, so now I'm scared.
River bricks out for Tarhanovs.
Daniel should absolutely be betting this board.
Let's test your knowledge. What do you think Tarhanovs should do in this position?
Call, because you're
I
Negreanu.
have a king. Oh, this is fun. I love having fun playing poker.
Daniel Negreanu kicks things off with Queen Jack offsuit. He has raised to $2,800, but is up against Tony G with Ace King offsuit.
Action folds over to Tony G, who makes the call.
2 strong hands going into the flop.
Queen 6 Jack.
King of the world.
Check by Tony G.
Tony G's missed. Daniel's gonna fire with top 2.
Bets 5,500.
Tony G knows Negreanu would bet this flop even if he had nothing, but he decides not to go for a semi-bluff raise, and instead, he floats, letting Daniel tell his tale while he quietly waits for something on the turn.
Tony has 2 overcards, even though they're no good. He's really only looking for a 10 to make a gut shot.
There it is.
Tony G tries to keep a poker face as he just hit his straight. He knows Daniel Negreanu is the best of all time at reading people. This is a critical moment to let Daniel continue building the pot. He checks, letting Daniel think 2-pair is the best hand here. Tony is in total control right now, patiently waiting for the right time to make his next raise get called.
Daniel bets 14 grand. A raise to 50,000 by Tony G.
A quick raise of 50,000. Tony's the kind of player that could be doing this with a worse 2-pair. He could be doing it with a draw. He could be doing it with flat out nothing, but a raise that big, that fast, usually means only one of two things, a monster hand or a monster bluff.
Daniel makes the call.
Tony using his hand to keep his mouth closed because it's probably watering right now.
The river gives Daniel a full house.
These two have been playing against each other at the highest level for 3 decades.
Tony checks.
Negreanu knows Tony has a straight, as you will see in his prediction at the end. He's not worried about being beaten here. He's just doing the math now. What's the number Tony G can't resist calling here?
Bet 80.
Negreanu makes it 80,000 to go. Snap call from Tony.
Negreanu shows him the bad news, hands him the keys of the city.
Bet ace king.
Yep. Well done, Daniel. Well done.
Played it good.
Nice dealer.
Sorry, Tony, you played it good.
Daniel Negreanu is looking down at 10-7 offsuit, but Seaver has raised to $1,300 with pocket fives, and Hashem has called with Jack-10 suited.
Uh-oh, this is Daniel's favorite hand, and it's actually gotten him into trouble in the big game before.
Re-raises on the button to 5,200.
He knows Seaver's range is wide and Hashem's flat is vulnerable. Even though it's his favorite hand, he's trying to play the players, not the cards. This raise is about letting them know that he's going to give them a hard time this hand if they decide to play along.
Scott Seaver is really hoping Daniel has an overpair so that he has the right implied odds to make this call.
Hashem folded, so heads up to the flop. King, deuce, queen. Seaver checks the best hand.
Negreanu knows Seaver could easily have king-queen here after raising and then calling Daniel's re-raise pre-flop. But why would he check? Daniel smells weakness, and that's usually when he gets curious.
He reps, betting 6,200.
Looks like Scott's gonna peel.
He calls.
Hashem wants his cards back.
6 of spades on the turn. Seaver checks.
Daniel still got just 10 high. This is one of the dangers of having a favorite hand.
Daniel does not look like he's about to check. After just calling the flop and checking the turn, Negreanu is probably putting Seaver on a draw or the weak pocket pair he does indeed have. He's thinking, if I apply the right pressure now, Seaver might just fold and give me all the money.
Daniel does fire that third barrel, making it 14,200 to go.
I could justify Scott's call on the flop, thinking maybe Daniel would shut down after one bet, but Daniel certainly hasn't shut down.
Seaver keeps it going. He calls.
Seaver's totally stationing Negreanu.
You mean like a calling station?
Exactly.
4 clubs on the river. Seaver checks.
Sick.
Daniel fires 36,000.
Seaver is capped, checked every street, and never repped strength. Daniel has nothing, but he knows Seaver is weak enough to fold. This is a masterclass.
Folds the winner.
Phew-wee. You had me staring. I had my favorite hand. You know what that is?
10-7?
7 of diamonds and 10 of clubs specifically. Can't believe I got away with a bluff.
Daniel Negreanu looks down to King-10 offsuit, a hand with decent equity in a 4-way pot. Against him is Elizabeth Houston, who opens to a Queen-Jack offsuit. Let's see who will the poker gods bless this time.
See that? Cheap flop.
Reynolds folds.
Also makes it easier to call this 3-bet from Tony G.
He raises to 2,000. Queen Jack for the cannon. She calls out of position. So does Daniel.
And like that, Williams built himself his own little pot odds.
He calls too. 4-person party to the flop.
The flop comes 8 Queen Jack Rainbow, which is perfect for Houston. She is looking at top 2 pair with no danger of a flush and only a potential straight or a pocket pair being in her way. Her odds look great, but I think she should have bet harder before Negreanu had a chance to see more of the community cards.
I fold.
Thank you, William.
With the bet sizing being insufficient, even Tony G with his mid pair of jacks that have 2% equity will make the call. The turn delivers the 4 of spades. Things couldn't have been better for Houston. Pocket 4s would have probably folded, same as the pocket 6s from earlier, but she is still afraid of the flush and straight draw. That's why she fires a bet for a bit over half the pot, which I think will be yet again not enough to get Negreanu off his hand.
Daniel's checking out her stack, knowing she probably has something strong enough to lose it all if he does make the nuts.
Negreanu casually calls her $15,000 bet as predicted. But at least Tony G and his adventuristic jacks are gone. Now let's see what the turn will bring for Negreanu. And it is the ace. What a cooler this will be at the end.
That's Daniel's gin card, and this could get ugly for the cannon. I expect her to bet here.
Now she checks.
Somehow she knew to slow down. Daniel's got the nuts. Let's see how much he thinks she'll pay off.
50.
If Elizabeth has watched this show at all, she would know Daniel doesn't bluff raise the river very often. No one does.
If Elizabeth makes this call, she'll have less than 30,000 remaining in her stack.
Call.
Ouch.
She sees it.
Damn it.
Negreanu is holding pocket fives and he's raising to 95,000. He's up against the legends Tom Dwan with pocket nines and Phil Ivey with pocket tens.
Over to Tom Dwan.
That's not a hand Dwan would fold, not against Daniel, and definitely not in a $250,000 buy-in. Tom looks like he's thinking, I'm pretty sure he shouldn't flat and trap, but rather crank up the pressure early.
Dwan has just made a call with pocket nines. Perhaps at another time he might have raised. Oh, check this out. Phil Ivey's picked up pocket tens.
Yeah,
and
I'm pretty
he's
surprised.
Just called.
Yeah, I'm pretty surprised by the flat call from Phil. It's usually a spot where you'd like to squeeze, especially the fact that he's on the button. It's going to look pretty fishy and quite possibly have someone play back at him.
Mike Haxton folds.
The flop comes 3 queen 6, 2 spades. Negreanu opened with pocket fives, whiffed the flop completely, and now he's first to act on this board, with Dwan and Ivey behind him, who are not exactly known for playing nice when they smell weakness.
Misses all of them. A check from Daniel. This will be interesting.
I don't think any of the three of them are going to be too thrilled with that flop, to be honest. Queen's certainly in the calling range of Tom and Phil. Hands like King Queen, Ace Queen. I expect Phil will just check this back as well.
Phil does. We'll see a turn.
The turn is the 4 of clubs, and things are starting to line up for some sneaky draws. No one took a stab on the flop, which means this pot's still up for grabs, and Negreanu knows it.
And given the fact that he was a pre-flop aggressor, both players have checked back the flop.
He does take a stab.
Dwan isn't just thinking about his cards. He's scanning Daniel and Phil like he's picking up frequencies. These guys are playing poker on a different level. Every glance, every pause, every chip toss. There's a language here only the elite understand, and Dwan is fluent.
I think Tom is more than happy to peel one here with nines. He's got to assume that Daniel's going to bet a queen on the flop there.
Now, he's got his eye on both Daniel and Phil, looking at across the table to both players, and he smooth calls here. So round to Phil Ivey, and this is a tough spot.
Even though he does have the best hand, it's probably correct to fold.
Yeah, well, Phil Ivey kind of stuck there. Tom Dwan now eyes only on Daniel Negreanu, and the river's a 2 of hearts.
And Daniel gets there.
Oh, Daniel checking. He's going to try and trap him. And look at this, it might work. Dwan reaching for chips.
I check.
Oh, wow, Tom Dwan checks. Daniel not happy.
I don't bet my friends, you know? I don't bet my friends.
Wow, Dwan's really relieved.